Psalms chapter 1. Let's look at it. Psalms chapter 1. Let's look at it. Another word for blessed is happy. Then there's other words that follow along with the word blessed. It doesn't mean just happy, but it means favored. Favored. Blessed, and the Amplified Bible gives the definition to the word happy. I want you to see this. Love the Amplified Bible. Now, wherever the word blessed shows up in the Amplified Bible, it gives a definition of what the word blessed means. A lot of people don't like the Amplified Bible because the Amplified Bible will tell you what it means. Blessed, fortunate, prosperous, and favored by God. Fortunate, prosperous, and favored by God. And happy. In other places it says happy. The word blessed means happy, fortunate, prosperous, and favored by God. Happy, fortunate, prosperous, and favored by God. That's what blessed means. Amen. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. Let me say that again. Blessed, happy, and fortunate, and prosperous is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the path of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in what? The law of the Lord. His delight is in the law of the Lord. Okay? And in his law, he what? Meditates day and night. And in his law, he meditates day and night. How come it didn't say he delights in the love of the Lord? He delights in the prosperity of the Lord. And in his law he uses it day and night. It says his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law, and in his law, and in his law he meditates day and night. We always are thinking Bible. Every day of our lives we think Bible. Bible, 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 Bible. That's all you stupid Christians think about is Bible. You're doing right. He will be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in its season. Everything is in order because of his relationship with God. He will be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in its season. Its leaf will not wither, and whatsoever he does will prosper. That's the Christian man. If that's not you, you need to work on your culture. You need to work on your relationship with God. The wicked are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in judgment. Get this in your thick skull. It's not about money. It's not about looking good in front of everybody. It's about when you stand before God, you look good. If you believe in God, you believe in standing before God. If you don't think that God is going to judge you, if you don't think you're going to stand before God, then you don't believe in God. You believe there might be a God. You believe there's some pie up there in the sky. But the Bible says you will stand before God. The wicked will not be able to stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Now notice, there's wicked and there's sinners. And look here, these sinners, let alone these wicked, ain't gonna be hanging out with us on the other side. They're not going to be with us. They're not going to be blended in with us. Get this in your thick skull. Whatever the world is doing out there, that they have to be liberal about what people do in this country. They have to be liberal about your rights versus their rights. So they vote the way they vote. And I'm just using this as an example. We don't get to do that. We have to maintain what? We have to live in the law of the Lord. It's not based upon Donald Trump. It's based upon my faith in Jesus Christ. That's why I vote the way I vote. I don't know why you voted for Trump, but I voted for the man because of this scripture right here. The law of the Lord. The law of the Lord does not condone all that crap that Jane Fonda just said. What was that? The law of the Lord does not condone all these lies about Donald Trump that never happened. They just making this up as they go along. That's not. These people, Christians, we're not allowed to be like that. They may think it's a light thing for them. You know, they might think they're just taking out the trash. They're just standing on business. It's not about really trying to hurt anybody or whatever, but they got to stick up for their country. You're not sticking up for your country. You're sticking up for your flesh. That's flesh. That speech that Jane Fonda just said, she said that. I just did a video about it on one of my other channels. She said that because she previously opened her mouth and Donald Trump came and broke what she spoke. Same thing with Joy Reid getting canceled. The same thing with what's going on with The View right now. And all these people boo-hooing and crying and acting a fool. Because somebody else wants to, actually use his rights within the limits of a certain party to be totally different than the other party. Are we allowed to do that? Yes, we are. The Electoral College and the whistleblowers in the middle of all this are letting this go on because you can still get up there and fight with a black eye. You can still get up there and fight with a cut on your face or cut in your ear for that matter. Okay? You can still get up there bleeding and fight. Even after you get up there and you do all this talking back and forth in the, what do they call that? The face-off. And y'all got in a fight at the face-off. It was so pathetic. And people are thinking, come on, guys, don't do that. But y'all did it. He shoved you and you punched him. But y'all still got in the ring. And usually, most of the time, the one that, kept quiet and just stayed on business, the one that kept quiet and just did what he's supposed to be doing, training for the fight. He knew his opponent couldn't wait to get in that ring and show off. So he just stayed on business. He usually won the fight. The only fight I've seen where a person bullied another person and then got in the ring and lost was when Conor McGregor bullied, I forget his name. His name starts with a J. Not Jordan. It wasn't Mickey Mouse. I forget. He's a really good MMA fighter. He's won every fight. He's came back and won every fight except the one with Conor McGregor. I don't think he re-challenged Conor McGregor, but he fought everybody that beat him. He went back and re-fought them and won and got his title back. I forget what his name is. He's short, not too much taller than me. But Conor McGregor said all kinds of bad things to him. He tried to rough him up at the face-off and all like that. There's another name for that. It's not called face-off, but he just Conor McGregor. I don't like Conor McGregor. He's an a-hole. And what's his name? Dana White. Is it Dana White? Dana whatever. He lets him. Yeah, it's Dana White. Dana White lets him do that. That should be illegal, especially when you go to talking about somebody's wife or their kids or their father or the country they live in or something like that. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should be automatically disqualified when you do that. If I was leader of the MMA, I'd be like, guess what, guys? There's not going to be a fight. You can tell all your fans, because you guys don't know how to act. Tell all your fans that there's not going to be a fight. I'm gonna leave that up to you. You work that out. Let me know how you want to do this after that, because that's ridiculous. It is. You can't. Dana White. Yeah, it's Dana White. Is that Dana White? Yeah, Dana White. Dana White's the leader of the UFC. The only fight that I've seen where the bad guy won after bullying the good guy was a fight, until Conor McGregor got beat up by Namanavo or whatever his name is, the Muslim guy, the guy that fights bears from Russia. Namanahu or something like that. After he got his butt kicked by him, his career started to take a different turn. But Conor McGregor was bullying everybody and threatening you and doing everything and still beating your butt. Everybody that he fought, except Nate. They made sure when he fought Nate Diaz, they made sure that was not going to be a title fight. Nate wanted a title fight with Conor McGregor. No. I think what they did was Nate kept pushing for the title fight, so they had to give it to him because they made him fight that exhibition fight. And Conor was ready for him, and I think he beat Nate. And I think what it was that I think it was an unanimous decision that Nate lost because Nate couldn't hit Conor. But Conor could hit him. But he missed, he didn't, it took him a few rounds. And so, Nate went after his title. I think they did let Nate go after his title after that exhibition fight. And Conor didn't want to fight Nate. He really didn't want to fight him for the title because he knew how good Nate was. And he knew Nate wanted, he knew. And Nate takes the UFC very personal. And he's like a street man when he's in that, when he gets in that ring. He's like the Spanish. He's like the Spanish colony he comes from, okay? But anyway, the Lord knows the way of the righteous. Verse 6, the last verse. The Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Okay? Psalms chapter 1, you can read it over and over and over. This lovely MEV. Praise the Lord. The Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked . I can't wait to move so I can get me a I can't wait to move so I can have more privacy with my videos and stuff like that. But anyway, you look around you, the world that we live in. See, what people don't understand is that we live for God. We don't just have God. We don't have God. We live for God. We don't have God. We live for God. We don't have God. We live for God. Just like you don't have your job. You work there. Okay? Why do you work there? Because number one, you ain't lazy. And number two, you need the income. Same thing with God. We live for God. Why? Because we're Christians. Number two, we need God to help us. We need God to keep us, protect us. Okay? Whatever I go through, like I'm going through something right now, with me losing my job and everything. I'm going through things right now. But I know whatever God allows me to go through as a Christian will be more pleasant than what He allows me to go through. Oh, hallelujah. I know that whatever God allows me to go through as a Christian will be more pleasant than what He'll allow me to go through as a man of the world. He says, take my yoke upon you, because my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Either way you slice it, Christ is light. That's the teachings of Jesus. It's not about, condoning, well, if you look at the teachings of Jesus, Jesus didn't say this and Jesus didn't say that, and He hung out with the sinners and the prostitutes. No, He did not. Jesus ministered to the sinners and the prostitutes and all them people, just like we got to. And He did let you know, unless you need a dictionary to define words and what they mean, He did let you know what a man is, what a woman is, what a man and a woman ain't, what kind of sexuality a man and a woman's going to have. Jesus spoke. He spoke, He quoted from Genesis. He quoted from the Old Testament when He spoke. Not only Jesus, so did Paul. And they try to separate Jesus from Paul. Well, Paul said this, but Jesus said that. They said the same goddamn thing. Read it again, Sam. They said the same thing. Now, these people out here that are living for the devil, I don't, first of all, let's start off with the things that might be crucial. Black folks worried about whether Donald Trump's a racist or not. This is the problem, though, with that. Back in the day, black folks thought that all the presidents were racist. And actually, they still do. You voting for Biden, but you don't really believe in Biden. He ain't coming over for dinner, and you're not inviting him over for dinner. Black folks never thought that any of the presidents, even Abraham Lincoln, was non-racist. It was just natural of us, because we're the aftermath of slavery, to think that all the presidents, because they're white, and there was never a black one until Barack Obama, so to speak. We figured they were all racist. But you still voted Republican. And you still voted Democrat. Now it's like, well, Donald Trump, he's racist. What does that have to do with the tea in China when you black? When you black, white folks being racist didn't mean nothing to white folks being racist didn't mean nothing to black folks back in the 50s and 40s. It didn't mean nothing to us. If you had said that Abraham Lincoln was racist, or George Washington, or Nixon, or Carter, or any of them, JFK, you had to said any of these presidents were racist back in the day, black man would have looked at you and said, and what else you got? You still voted for him because you felt you couldn't do nothing about him being racist, but if he's going to do something for this country, it all depended on what you wanted. It's just like, you shooting at a target, and that target there looks like it needs washing. That target there looks like it's brand new. But you win points for shooting either one. So you're going to shoot at all of them, not just the dirty one or the clean one. The targets are meant to go down when you hit them. That's the way it is when you vote. I'm going to vote for what's going to get me points. I'm going to vote what's going to work for my lifestyle and for what I feel about America. Now, the problem with that is we have the population of Hollywood. Nothing good ever came out of Hollywood. We have the population of Black America and the black community, and they're the only ones that have their own community. We have the population of the homosexual community, or the LGBTQIS, NUNS, NCA, CIS, CIA, NCIS, NAACP, and all the letters of the alphabet. Okay? All these different people are going to vote Democrat. Black people are going to vote Democrat because they think that they can make white people be somebody or do something that they've never done before. Which white people have done things that they haven't done before. They've kissed a lot of black behind over the years with government funds, college, affirmative action. They've done that. They've kissed a lot of black butt over the last few years, and black people still don't appreciate it. I've seen white people go into the projects and say, I'm not going to say it. Wow! What just happened? Their houses look better than mine, and I'm rich. When I did Uber and Lyft, I'd go into some of these modern day project facilities. And I'm taking this white person because the app is telling me to take the shortcut through this community to get to his community. He never went through the community because he knew it was a project. So he don't know nobody up there. So we're cutting through. We're coming through the back way. We're coming, he said, I never went this way before. Is all of this the projects? Yeah. As far as I know. It's all government housing. Man, it's beautiful back here. These houses look better than mine. I didn't know that the government had this kind of money to invest in these homes. I went to a place recently up near the waterfront. And I rode up in there. And I thought that, you know what? I rode up because, the waterfront, that's part of Homestead, Pittsburgh. Anybody that's from Pittsburgh is watching my channel. You go to waterfront, that's Pittsburgh. And the ghetto end of that across the bridge from Squirrel Hill is Homestead. That's the ghetto. And the waterfront is actually more part of Homestead than it is part of Squirrel Hill. So you got people from Squirrel Hill going to the waterfront, and you got people from Homestead going to the waterfront. Squirrel Hill and the other more wealthier neighborhoods, and then you got the ghetto-ness of the Homestead going in to the waterfront. But right across the bridge, right on the end of the bridge, I decided one day after my appointment to try to take a shortcut to keep from going across that bridge. And I went up into this housing complex. And I said, this is where all the white folks live. So when I went to work the next day, I told a black friend of mine at work, I told him where I went. He said, that's not what that is. That's public housing. I said, dude, they look like condos. They look like condominiums. Yeah, I know. It's nice, ain't it? But that's public housing. That's government housing. That's the projects, brother. There's whites and blacks living up there. I said, yeah, I saw that because I seen a black girl, then I seen a biracial couple, and then I seen, he said, that's the projects, brother. And I'm like, and I looked at him and I said, all that, and us black folks still have the nerve to be Monday when you can live like that for free compared to what it's costing other people. And he just looked at me like, don't start your crap. Mr. Trump supporter, don't start your crap. But I'm not a Trump supporter because of Donald Trump. He doesn't I don't see him. He's not in here. He's not in my Bible. But what is in my Bible What is in my Bible is law and order. I just read it to you. Law and order. Happiness comes from the law, following the law. We follow the law of the Lord. Following the law of the Lord teaches us to follow the laws of the land. Now Trump's got to come in there and remind everybody, excuse me, fake news, listen. Excuse me, fake news, listen. Excuse me, fake news, listen. What is the law of the land? Can someone here tell me, raise your hand if you know what the law of the land is? Because y'all ain't living in it. Everything that you're fighting against me about has nothing to do with law and order. It's all liberal. That's not in the Constitution. We are our own country. And then, here are the things that really, really trouble me about the Democratic Party right now. In my Bible, there are walls around cities, especially when the city is a power. There are walls around the city. If they can afford to put a wall around the city, they will. Back in the day, no wall around the city was an indication that that city doesn't really have wealth. Okay? We're supposed to have a wall around our country. Okay? But you don't need a Trump to do that. That's the Constitution. That's the way we've always done it until around, what is it, Gore or something like that. We started backing off started leaving the wall unattended within the last two Democrats before Barack Obama. And I don't think Bush said much about the wall. He was so up Iraq's butt trying to get even with them for the World Trade Center issue, 9/11, that he didn't care about nothing else. So they tried to impeach him because he didn't care about nothing else but the war. We need our jobs, brother. We trying to work. We trying to, and you ain't letting the soldiers come home. But all the Republicans I know that failed as a president, they did not fail with the Constitution. I say that again. All the presidents that I know that were Republican, they might have failed at the presidency, but what they didn't fail at was the Constitution. They respected the Constitution. Whereas when Barack Obama came in, he tried to change it. And everybody was talking about, I hope he changed the Constitution. Yeah, he said he might change the Constitution. He was willing to do that. Once he unchained gay marriage, he was willing to do anything. He was going to keep on going. He was going, But what I love about the Bible is the Bible teaches us what humanity is all about. Humanity is not taught in school, not taught in high school. That's why they fighting and beating each other up in high school. It's especially anymore. They used to have the 10 Commandments on the walls in public schools. Not no more. Thanks to the atheist community. That's over with, okay? There are no more 10 Commandments on the walls in schools anymore. There are no more Bibles laying around in the principal's office for you to just pick it up because you're bored waiting on the principal and start reading through it. You're not allowed to even have a single Bible in school. Your kid cannot bring a Bible to school in his book bag. If he gets caught with it, school can fine his parents or threaten his parents. This is considered a dangerous book. But what I love about it is it teaches the Christian community that we have a culture. We have a culture. And America was the closest thing at one time, minus slavery. But other than that, America was the closest thing to that culture. We used to have more churches than we had bars. And in some suburban areas, we still have more churches than we have bars and clubs. We got more people on the street yelling about Jesus in some neighborhoods than we have prostitutes on the streets. I had a neighbor when I lived, before I moved here to Pittsburgh. I think he's dead now. But I think his last name was White too. But he used to stand outside his house, which was in the ghetto, and wait for people to talk to him about Jesus, because his house had all kinds of stuff in the window and stuff about Jesus. Jesus saves, worship God and live. He had all these scriptures quoted in his windows and stuff like that. So, he would go out there with his Bible and just stand there in front of his house, because his house, he was renting out the bottom part of an abandoned building. And he had that spot for years until the place got condemned. I think what actually happened was he was using that building to do street ministry. He actually lived somewhere else, but I never seen where he lived. He was always down there on the corner in front of that building, knowing that people would stop by and say, "What's that? What's going on here?" And then he would use that as an opportunity to talk to them about the Lord. Okay? And, that's the kind of culture that we had just a few years ago. Maybe over 10 years ago. But we Christians have a culture. And this is what destroys the Democrats for me. This is why the Democrats are not on my team. They're not on my guest list. I don't want to be on their guest list. I'm glad that the current president is not Democratic. And I'm glad the current president is not a fake Republican like some of the other Republicans we've had. I'm glad. Here's the inquiries. The leaving the walls open for people to just walk right in here was done on purpose. We know that. They wanted these people to walk in here. What people don't know about Donald Trump is Donald Trump has been a threat from the minute he decided to actually run back in 2016 till this day. And even when he didn't make his second term, he made his second term now, but he didn't make his second term in 2020. So he was still a threat because most people that go to the office of the former presidents, they're only there for a minute and then they just go on their merry way. No, Donald Trump was still doing rallies and going around, using Twitter and other search engines and that to get his message out there and all like that. When he had already stepped down from office, he stayed in Mar-a-Lago. He stayed there till he won again. When Barack stepped down, he didn't stay. He didn't stay in the house of the former president. He went to his home in Dubai. He has different houses in different parts of the world now. He went across seas. But Trump never gave up on us, even after he stepped down. And he knew that it was awfully strange. How's the map red, not loose? And if you don't think that it was rigged, this is the problem. The Democrats said it was rigged. They said, the same people that'll put down Donald Trump, they were sitting there saying that, look, people are signing up their dogs, putting them on the voter ID. They're registering their dogs to vote. They're registering their dead grandmamas and grandpas to vote. People are double voting. And people got caught. But you couldn't catch all of them because that was just too much. And we've never done that in the past, for the most part. Maybe a little bit, but not in this magnitude. And they really, really had people. And this is the second thing. You got the wall issue. That's totally criminal. There's no reason for you to leave those borders open for people to walk in here like that and then not send, what is it called? Immigration or whatever it is that goes after people coming in here illegally. Okay? Not sending these people after them. You just let them walk in here. And it's all over the news that, look at all these people walking through the wall. And they're not doing nothing. Where'd they go after they walked? Oh, you didn't let us know where they went. Oh, yeah, they went and hid up in the woods somewhere, raped somebody's daughter. Okay. Killed an old man, killed an old woman, started hijacking cars and all kinds of stuff. The wall is one. The whole bathroom, trans women, which are men, going into female bathrooms, going into female sports and pushing the women out of the way and trying to take over their sports. Okay. The crap going on in jails. Trans women going into prisons and pregnating all the women. And then, with the immigrants as well, them coming over here, the whole Haitian thing. Donald Trump did not lie about that. I watched the documentary. The documentary was done by a goddamn Democrat. Two of them. One was done by a Republican, another one was done by a Democrat. They went to Carolina and interviewed these Haitians. These Haitians said out of their own mouths that they were eating the dogs and the cats. They weren't eating the dogs and the cats. They were sacrificing the dogs and the cats. That is part of their culture and their religious worship. They were eating the ducks, but they were sacrificing the dogs and the cats. Where did Donald Trump get the idea that they were eating the dogs and the cats? From the same place I got it from before he said it. Oh, he's off his rocker. They start making songs on YouTube, making YouTube shorts. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat. eat the cat. You can make fun all you want to. They're really eating the dogs and the cats. Literally. And they didn't go out there and say it's because they're Trump supporters. Like I said, there were documentaries done by both Republicans and Democrats. Guy went out there and said, well, let's make fun of Donald Trump. And they says, yeah, but they are actually cooking dogs and cats, whether they're eating them. Most don't eat them. They'll eat the ducks. But if they can't eat the ducks, they will eat the sacrifices if they can't eat the ducks. You can find that in the Bible. Because there are people that not only ate the dogs and the cats, they ate their own people. Even after their country was colonized, their culture was still eating their own people. You ain't got to eat them anymore. Okay? Colonization is going to give you a form of power. You're going to survive. Even though you hate it, you're going to survive because of colonization. Why are you still eating your own people? America is not ready for what's coming. They're not ready for the third world and how people in the third world live. All these rich Democrats hating on rich people. Movie stars hating on rich people. I hate you because you make more money than me. And you making all this money, you don't care. But I don't see all these gay people hanging out at your house. I don't see your best friend being a trans woman or a trans man. I don't see you hanging out with black folks. All I see you doing is saying dumb stuff as a white man, calling other white men racist. How do you know that? How do you know that, sir? How do you know another white man to be racist when you live your life just like he does? You judging him and calling him racist. You live just like he does. You play golf on Sunday when your butt should be in church. You go out with all these wealthy white people. How do you know another white man is racist? He's racist because he's doing things for black people that you'll never do. You ain't gonna bail no black people out of jail. You ain't gonna put no homeless black people in the Trump Towers. You ain't gonna give black people loans. But you're hating on this man and calling him a racist because you're a liar. Never in my life, as a conservative and as a Christian, have I disliked a lot of white people. Especially them white people in Hollywood. I don't think I've watched any movies of none of these people that opened up their mouths since Trump has been on the train. I can't watch, The Rock on in any of his movies anymore. Okay? A lot of these white Hollywood actors, I cannot watch their movies anymore. Because when I watch them, I think about how they sit there and everybody's putting them on a pedestal because of their millions and all that kind of stuff. But then they want to hate on because there's an agenda that they have to fulfill. And this is the problem with the Democratic Party. Everybody's Democratic that ain't Republican. Skull and Bones, the Illuminati, all Democrats. Pizzagate, Democrats. The whole Epstein, whatever his name is, the island, all that. It's all Democrats. It's all Democrats. I'm surprised we won. It had to be the Electoral College and the whistleblowers by themselves. Had to be some very rich lobbyists in on this trick. How do we pull this off a second time? Because the first time, when he was supposed to, when he already won, you found a way not to let him into office the second time. Now here we are on his third go round. And because Biden and Kamala was such a screw up, you had to let him win. You had to let the red count this time. You knew the red was going to win for your own pocketbook, for your own financial survival. You had to let him win because you knew if you're going to be a Democrat and do the immoral stuff and do the liberal stuff, at least keep track of the money, keep track of the economy. But as a Christian, where there is godliness, did I just not read it to you? As a Christian, where there is godliness and where there is the law of God, there is prosperity. That is why you cannot say how much money a Christian can make. That's why you cannot condemn a Christian for being rich. Because wherever there is godliness with contentment, and wherever there is holiness, and wherever there is praise for God, there is going to be prosperity. And the one that knows how to take that prosperity to the next level will be a rich man. He ain't no less a Christian than you are. This is why when people say stuff about rich Christians, well, he got an airplane, he got a Mercedes, that's just wrong. That's wrong. You're just jealous. Donald Trump proved to you he's not a Christian, but he proved to you that a rich man can look at America and say, enough is enough. He's not like Bill Gates, who's sitting there saying, oh, yeah, go ahead. He's not like George Soros. Go ahead. What do I care? I live in a lighthouse. I don't care if they riot and kill each other. But Donald Trump's looking at America and he's saying enough is enough. He took it upon himself to say enough is enough. Where does he get the right to do that? He voted for himself. And they voted for him as well. That's where he got the right to do that. Okay? And whoever the whistleblowers are, whoever the people in the Electoral College are that are spearheading all this. Remember, first they spearheaded the devil's stuff before they spearheaded his. The devil lost. Even while it was winning, it was losing. That's why they said, okay, look, no matter what they say, if it's red, we're going to let red win. As a Christian, though, is my concern about those of you that are watching. Maybe next time. It's too late. The man's in office and they're out. But maybe next time you'll think about. Look, listen, I'm going to say it one more time. Everybody that's not in the Republican Party is a Democrat. Even if they don't vote. They don't vote because they don't want to vote Republican. And they don't want to vote Democrat. But most of them ain't voting or denying the vote because they're Christians unless they're part of some religion. And I think it's stupid of you and ignorant of you not to vote. There are Baptists that don't vote. There are religions that don't vote. But yet, we're voting and we're getting you your rights and your freedom. You're getting up there talking about Donald Trump and, oh, Donald Trump going to do this, Donald Trump going to do that. You don't even vote. And if he wins, he won because of us other Christians. You refuse to be a part of us. You said, I don't vote. So we voted without your help. And you get your rights met because we voted in your favor. That's not fair. That's not fair. I think those that don't vote don't get to eat the meal. They don't get to come to the feast. If you don't vote, you don't get to come to the feast. You don't get a piece of the bread. You don't get to cut the cake. You don't get a piece of the ham. You don't get a piece of the steak. If you don't vote, you're not invited, in my opinion. That's not fair. Do you realize of all these religions that claim they're Christians and all these Baptist people that don't vote and other Protestant types that don't vote? Do you realize if they were all to come together, there would be no blue. It would be all red. It'd knock that blue right off the map. That map would be red like fire. But I was taught by my Pentecostal pastor, who's a white man. You either vote or be ruled by those that do. When you vote Republican, you're voting for the lesser of two evils. Maybe next time, all of you that didn't think it matters whether you're a Democrat or not. After what I just said, maybe next time you'll know better. When you vote Republican, you're voting for the lesser of two evils. The less of two evils. Donald Trump's not a Christian. But in my opinion, he's a god-darn good Republican. He's the only Republican that made a distinction between the Democratic Party. I mean a 100% distinction between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Because he came in there and he put all the liberals in their place. That's why they're getting on there. That's why Joy Reid and Jane Fonda and different ones are getting up there saying stuff. That's why Dawn Lemonhead is saying stuff. You know. That's why they're mad and angry, crying and acting a fool. Because why? They were speaking. They spoke. And now they just got broke. And everything that they said fell on deaf souls. Because why? You messed up our economy. It doesn't affect you because you don't have to live down here with the civilians. But you let them mess up our economy. And you join in the hate. You don't even really know what you're hating on. You're just following the script. You're just following along with the crowd. And people are making this up as they go along. Now they putting Donald Trump's wife in it. They putting his kids in it, in the middle of it. God bless you. Do Recruit Your Life Applications Officer. That's enough for now. I'll talk to you soon with more. God bless. Not about this, but other things. In Jesus' name.